This old cabin's been here a long time. Long time. I think it was in the same condition 20 years ago. How random is this? Look at this. Isn't that bizarre? In the package. That's really weird. Really weird. You guys want to try to see inside of it? Here, I'll hold the camera up where I can't see. Weird. Don't know the story. It'd be interesting to hear it though, wouldn't it? There's big timber in there. I've been in there before. Hauling a big bear out of that dark forest years ago. Yeah. Trail coming in here. Wildlife trail. Watch where it cuts into the ground. Along here. Along here. Without a doubt that's a bear trail. Good place for a trail camera. Anyway, it's hot. I gotta get some shade. Whew. Smoking hot out. You're supposed to hit 32 today. 32 for a Canadian is hot. 32 for me is really hot. There's a one spot over there by this old cabin. I'll show you guys that cabin. Pretty random. A computer. I don't know what circa that computer is. 1980, and it's in a still in the styrofoam case. That cabin's been there for a long time. It's in the same condition 20 years ago when I hauled a huge bear out of that forest behind it. Bizarre, right? Be interesting to know the story behind that cabin. I'm sure I could find out easy enough in the village here, near here. But anyway, Sarah went home, the dog went home after Ruby jumped off the frickin' boat today. Dumbass, we were getting close to shore. And she had a little bit of a panic attack when she figured out she couldn't get out of the water. All good. Learning experience. One quick note, I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about too much about hunting. Once I get out here, I don't think about anything. You know? I don't watch any of the normal people I might watch while I'm doing something at home or listen to them. I'm somewhat out of touch with the atrocities going on around the globe, which I normally stay on top of. But what I was thinking was common sense. And how do you teach common sense? And you know what? You could teach common sense easily. But the thing is if you could teach common sense, first you would have to be able to find the teachers that get it. And then you'd have to find the place where the teachers would be allowed to teach common sense. Right? Or you get some superheroes that form a awesome common sense course, and then you get your children to go take it. That would be huge. That would be huge. Imagine if it was mandatory for our children to take common sense courses right away. The first thing they taught was common sense. Now, what am I talking about common sense? All right, common sense. If I had around 127,000 people tell me all around the world they're seeing a very large, upright, hairy, human-like being running around the wilds, common sense tells me that that's fact because so many witnesses are seeing it. That's common sense, right? But something's telling a lot of people to go against their common sense. Common sense would tell me that if I watched a news source on mainstream, on television, whatever, and common sense would tell me that if they were caught in a lie, if they were caught lying to the public, common sense would tell me to never watch them again. Right? Common sense would tell you that if a leader was elected and he was confronted with questions from the public and they didn't answer, common sense would tell me that they were lying and they shouldn't be in that position, and common sense would tell me to get rid of them. Right? Common sense could be taught in many ways. I was daydreaming about that as I was rowing along in the boat, thinking about, you know, all the information that's being shared, all the people coming forward, the information being shared. Well, if it falls upon the ears of those without common sense, it's basically somewhat of a waste of time in a way, isn't it? Unless you do what we are doing, is just keep pumping it out there. Keep pumping out the truth, pumping out the truth. Allowing people the opportunity to see that they may have lacked a little bit of common sense, and maybe they're going to learn a little more common sense by watching something like this place here or others similar to it, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I'm babbling. I'm talking to myself on the side of a rock, as usual. But don't you guys think that would be valuable? If somebody, one of you guys out there, if one of you is a teacher, and something tells me that if you are a teacher, you would probably not be allowed to teach common sense, would you? Because that would take down everything. Common sense needs to be drilled into the children in a big way, I believe. And I think it could be easily done. Because the evidence of lack of common sense today is so prolific, it's so in your face, it would be easy to use what's going on everywhere as examples of common sense. All right, enough of that little ramble rant. I'm just trying to figure out how, right? How to help, how to change things, how to help people think for themselves, break free of the insanity. Now listen to this. We got some important voices to be heard, more important than mine. Listen, this hummingbird just went rip in my left ear. That was a little quick. The bush is pretty close to my left. Tell me if a bear comes up behind me, would you? This is titled, We Were Hunting on an Old Logging Road. Steve, I appreciate your channel. The letters, the information, the sharing of common knowledge is vital to continuing life after. My background, I grew up in a large family. So I always wanted to get away, and I did. When my friends were out getting married and having kids, I was out adventuring and exploring, hunting, fishing, and boating, or just generally enjoying everything I could find to enjoy. Same. I've traveled to every one of the lower 48 states, some many times. Spent a lot of time traveling and adventuring in Northwest Ontario, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota. Living in Montana all my life, I vowed to fish 50 new lakes every year, and most years I surpassed that number by midsummer. That is frickin' awesome. Camped my truck with my boat on behind me for 85% of the time, so I'm quite familiar with being outdoors and the critters that live in the wilderness. I've been aware of the others in the woods and asked to leave areas by them, and just did it without ever actually seeing them. Yes, I listened, and would at times slide through the back window and start the truck and leave at 2:30 a.m. because I was not welcome. I just understood that that's what I needed to do. I didn't question it, I did it. Call it a sixth sense or just my kind of crazy, but I got the signal. I received that signal many times in my adventures, and I just stop and politely leave the area, never really understanding why I got that feeling. I'm also a witness to the real deal while hunting grouse in northwest Canada. We'd been hunting along an old logging road on four-wheelers. The rest of the guys were checking out some birds that they saw flying towards a grove of trees, and I started back towards the trucks to get the trailers ready for loading the bikes. We'd been hunting all day, and the shadows were getting long as evening was approaching. I thought I saw some movement in the tall grass, so I got off my bike, took my shotgun out of the case to check it out. I took a step, I looked towards the movement, but I didn't see anything more. But when I looked back down the logging road towards the trucks, I saw it briefly, just before it drifted into the bushes. I remember that its shoulders were the same height as the crown of the brush. I also remember looking at my shotgun in my hands and thinking that it wasn't near big enough for what I saw. Then it was gone as quickly as I had seen it. About that time, the rest of my buddies arrived, and I was down by where I had seen it move into the brush. I tried to explain that its shoulders were as high as the brush, about 9 feet, but they all convinced me that I was mistaken, and it was a big black bear. Well, I hadn't been hunting since. Instead, I took up power walking on trails, 4 miles or more a day. It's my thing. Yet there's no escaping the truth. I've seen the broken trees and the trampled grass. I've had acorns thrown at me, and I've heard the knocks on the trees, the blood-curdling screams, and the feeling of being watched. I've spent a considerable amount of time in the outdoors, and have only heard a tree fall in the forest a handful of times. Over this past summer, I've heard at least a dozen trees fall in the forest, all within about a half mile of each other. While out on my walks in the local nature park, the same message came to mind along with the tree fall. I wasn't welcome there, so I left. When I started to question how that could happen is when I found your channel, and all the pieces started coming together. All the experiences from my great adventures in the outdoors started to connect, as they are so familiar to the rest of the stories that you share. I know some will understand that when I hear the stories that you read, the hair on the back of my neck stands on end as I revisit another experience I had in my past, and it's really an awakening experience. I've been very apprehensive about visiting the trails again. I guess the part that is a real wake-up call is this park is only about 20 minutes from downtown Minneapolis, right here in the suburban countryside. So don't think that you have to go to some remote place and almost go looking to find them when they are right under our nose in the outskirts of the cities too. The bottom line is this: there is no escape. They exist. I won't let my fear of the unknown keep me from the outdoors anymore, because now I know that I can receive the signal and know when to leave the area. I don't need to see them to know they are there. I feel it now, as I always have, but at least now I have an explanation as to the why. Keep up the good cause. Get the information out in the open. Everyone should be able to walk with knowledge and others' experiences on your side. Why do they hide the truth? Fear. Fear of not knowing how to control something that is able to control us would be my first guess. Ed Sundin. You can use my name if you wish. Everyone I know already knows I'm a bit different. And some think I'm crazy, and this won't surprise anybody. Yeah, me too, man. I'm sure a lot of people think I'm absolutely bonkers, right? But who gives a shit? It's pretty cool that you're so in tune. Possibly reason being is because you spent so much time out there, right? You spent a lot of time in the middle of the real world exercising your natural given senses. Whereas possibly when we stay, yeah, I'm sweating. Possibly when we stay within the confines of those big cities under control and the shit's just fed to you non-stop, and you lose touch with a lot of your senses. And I have a lot of people say, that's bullshit, man, try walking in Chicago, you gotta be on your toes and on your game all the time. Totally get it. I totally get it. But I have a funny feeling that when you're out here, you challenge yourself out here. I mean, you can walk down the street, you can see human beings, you can read their body language, you know what's lit up, light enough, too dark, too creepy. You'll get your sixth sense feeling, right? You totally get it. Now you take that same person who is confident enough, they know they're in tune with their gut instincts when they're in that big city. Take that same person and throw him in the woods out here by himself and see if it's any different, right? I have a feeling being out here opens up a lot more natural senses we have, I think. Possibly. Anyways, thanks for that email, man. Appreciate you. I don't know when that was sent in originally. Oh, 2021 is when it was sent in. Alright. What do we got? Here's one. This is titled Solo Camping. Okay, I'm not a big game hunter or a veteran, but I respect those people greatly. This happened near Bear Brook State Park in New Hampshire, US. Excuse me. I was looking at maps for good places to hike, and I found a place that was recently integrated into state-owned property. There was a pond surrounded by 400 or so acres of land that was not in the park system at the time. I packed my backpack and set out to find this pond, as I thought it would be a nice getaway from everyday life. After about 2 hours of hiking, I decided to cut into the woods off the old railroad bed. I thought, if it's not here, then I passed it already. I walked in on some old logging roads that hadn't been used in many years, and I finally found it. I planned on fishing, but I had to eat first, so I found a flat rock to make a fire on, since the ground was dry, and cooked my freeze-dried meal. After that, I was tired. There were no houses or people for at least 5 miles. I decided to just stay there since I had a tent. It was getting dark. I heard a sound that sounded like a boat being slapped. What? I heard a sound that sounded like a boat being slapped into the pond. It made me confused, since that's a very distinct sound, but there were no ripples on the pond. I just continued setting up camp, put it out of mind. At about 10, I decided to go to bed. I was beat, and the small fire I had going on the rock would easily put itself out soon. I fell asleep pretty fast. Almost as soon as I fell asleep, I was awoken by steps of something rustling around right outside my tent, like within a foot of my tent. No big deal, just a possum or a raccoon, I thought. But then, about 20 or 30 feet from my tent, came this low, rumbling growl. Then again, I know cat growls and bears, but this was neither. I whistled for some reason, but the next growl seemed even angrier. I froze in silence. I'd made the decision to not bring a sidearm with me since it added weight. Never again. There was nothing. Until about 30 seconds later, I heard the biggest thud on the ground I have ever felt. From the exact spot the growl came from. Now, if it was a rock, it would have rolled. I'm getting bugs on me. It would have rolled a bit, and you'd hear that. Or a big branch. Things just don't work that way. It was a stomp. My blood ran cold. Then, from the other side of my fire, which was then out, I heard tick, tick. I was like, what in the world makes that sound besides humans? Then, tick, tick, like 2 drumsticks being tapped together. Tick, tick. I was absolutely terrified. I forgot to say that small objects were being thrown at my tent at the same time before the growls. I never even thought of the Sasquatch being in this part of the country, but I respected people who said they saw or had an experience. Common sense. You got it. Then I heard it again. Tick. Tick. The ticks were farther apart. Hair raised up again. This isn't any kind of an animal. That's when I thought, I either stay in this tent and get eaten or killed, or I get out and get the fire going. And I did just that. I had no other weapons. I know that most animals are afraid of fire. I got the flames going pretty good when I heard something hitting the small branches above my head. I could hear it from behind, then above me, then a big thud in front of me about 8 feet away. Something's throwing things. That one had to have been at least 5 pounds. More branches, sticks, and dirt was thrown at me all night. I didn't sleep, needless to say. My friends that I did tell say it was humans playing tricks, but what human can see in the dark? What human would just walk in with a shotgun and say, what human wouldn't just walk in with a shotgun and say, get the F out of here? I don't know. Thanks, Steve, for YouTube channel. You're the only one I trust with this. Feel free to use my name. Matt, Stanford, New Hampshire, USA. Matt, you're a brave man with common sense. Common sense, pump it through your veins. Thank God. Don't worry about what people say ever, alright? Ever. Never. The day you stop thinking about what people think, it's the day you begin a free life. Believe me. Alright, quick glance around. No bears. It's funny how bears really love the sun. I don't know why. Jet black and the sun beaming down. The dogs, there's 2 black dogs at the dock and they hide out in the shade every chance they get, but not bears. It's weird. I don't know how they do it. Alright, listen to this. It's titled, I Couldn't Draw My Gun. Dear Steve, I live with it all around me at certain times of the year. I've had encounters as close as within 6 feet. Now that is a time your pants fill up quickly. I've had the peeking in on me through windows. I have had my daughter and grandsons be growled at by these things. I've also had gifts given to me when I do at times set out food for them. I've been awoken out of a sound sleep to the noise of either someone running a stick down the side of the metal building or the cracking of trees at night from the bluff next to me. Like several trees, and like it was a party. I don't leave my house after dark. My neighbors 3 doors down complain about the bears getting into the fruit trees. And at 10 at night they will start shooting at these bears, but never hitting one to kill it with a 7mm. Funny. Why are they not hitting the bear when they can and do come home with big game all the time? I'm not saying much on where I live, as these beings are only doing what we all are doing, surviving, only in the way they know how to do it. I know there is a human thing about them. I don't know how to describe it, but I personally would not kill one unless I was forced into it, and I don't know if I would survive a fight with them. Oh. Had to move out of that sun. Oh, too hot. It's creeping around, catching me. Now, even in this, maybe I'm not. Watch for bears. Don't need to see my ugly mug. Also, I don't want a fake researcher out here. My most recent account was I was going to town about 40 miles from me, and I was doing the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. When I looked to my left and about 100 yards into the woods is a Bigfoot keeping up with me. It was like he knew I saw him because, without missing a beat, this thing does a 90-degree turn and shoots straight up the mountain. People don't like coming to my place as I do have these beings living so near to me. This is one way up, there is one way up, and one way down to the bluff above me. This is important, as you will see. My daughter and her family were up visiting me, and the grandsons wanted to see what was on top of the bluff. So my daughter said, I'll go with you. Within about 2 minutes they were back, and all 3 faces were white and excited, not in a good way. My daughter said something growled at us, and it was not anything I heard before. It went right through us. The growl did. So I walked into the house and got the 30-30 and shot up towards where the watcher usually is and shot, then yelled no. That night I got bombarded by pine cones. This happens when I've upset them, or it is a reply they understand. I don't know it has happened before. The reason I said the beginning of the trail was important, I have let 3 hunters go look for elk above me, as there is supposedly royal elk above me. All 3 hunters at the different time they went up came down about 2 miles from my place. From my place side, they would never go back up there again, and got in their trucks and left and would not say any more than that. I'd been gone all day and got back before the sun went down, but it was dusk. By the time I had gotten the stuff out of my truck and loaded it into the house, I realized I was almost out of wood. Knowing that I have bears, cats, and other wild creatures, I loaded my 10mm Glock on my side. I went to the wood pile. It was dark by this time, and I had to use a flashlight. Well, I had gotten about half a cart of wood when I felt like something was looking at me. I looked over to see what I first thought was a bear. I went to draw my pistol out of my holster, and it would not come out. Then this thing stood up on 2 legs, next to the 40-foot fifth wheel. I had this fifth wheel is the size of a semi-trailer. The trailer was, I think, 13'9" tall, however tall a semi-trailer is. This thing stands up within 6 feet of me and just stands there. It's about a foot shorter than the trailer and about 4 to 5 feet across the chest with copper-colored eyes and has an ape face on it. I took my cart of wood. It was half full and started backing to my door across the driveway, still trying to pull my pistol in case this thing charges. And no matter how hard I tried to pull out the pistol, it was stuck. I could not get it out until I got indoors, with the door closed. And then it slid out with no problem. So, if you'd like to contact me, please don't give this out, but here's my number. This number is strictly for you. I don't want people around here, as I live in peace with them. I feel we have an understanding. I also talked with the Nez Perce tribe, and was told they would leave me alone if I left them alone. So that's what I do. Wise choice. You know, it's funny with the gun thing. I learned for myself that obviously guns can harm them, although a lot of people that see these beings don't think they can. But when, like I spoke to a man who, with his partner, had a face-to-face with one of these beings, and it kept peeking out the tree at him, and they put the gun up on it and it would hide behind the tree, and then it'd peek back out in the tree when the gun was down. Now, if these beings knew that guns didn't do shit to them, they wouldn't look away. If they knew that guns couldn't harm them, you would have been able to slide your handgun out of the holster, no problem, right? So, there. They have given it up to us numerous times that yes, our simple firearms will harm them, right? They're telling us that flat out by their reactions to guns being pointed at them or drawn, whatever. Interesting that you've been living alongside these beings 6 feet away. That's kind of creepier as shit. Ape face, that's not that common. A lot of people said actually it's kind of a monkey looking thing, but it's not that common that we do not get the description of it looked like more of a man than anything else, but not quite a man. So that's interesting, right? Interesting. Thanks for sharing. I don't know how long ago, that was a while back. You got anything significant that you think that may help some of the people here? Maybe if you could, sometime email us back with more, all right, man? If you got something that'll help the people, all right? And I hope you're living a happy and safe life there alongside them right now. All right. Oh, man, it's warm out. It is so warm. All right, listen to this. Here's another one. Oregon logger shares. Hey, Steve, I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I'm a logger from Western Oregon, 26 years old now, been in the woods since the day I was born. Hunting, fishing, mushroom hunting, and everything in between. Been logging since practically the day I got out of high school as well. To be short, I know the woods and everything out there. Now, I've always wanted to be a believer, and I wouldn't call this a sighting by any means, but it wasn't enough for me. One day mid-fall, I decided to walk down into a remote draw to look for chanterelles, hedgehogs, and maybe a shed horn or two. About half mile in, I was in the bottom of the draw, keeping my eyes on the ground for mushrooms, of course. There's a big swampy spring in the bottom, and out of the corner of my eye, I noticed 3 tracks in the mud. As I walked over to check them out, I noticed they were huge human foot tracks. I know what a bear stepping in his own tracks looks like, but this was no bear. These were huge. To put into perspective, I wear a size 14 wide shoe, and they dwarfed my Romeos by at least 4 inches. And they were fresh. Fresh enough, the moss was still pressed down and not full of water yet. Needless to say, every hair in my body stood straight up and automatically started to feel like something was right there watching me. I wish I still had the pictures. But I had them on a phone, and I ended up losing the phone at work, so no pictures anymore. But I can't say I've ever felt so uneasy. And nothing in the woods really makes me uneasy. I couldn't tell you how long it took me to get out of that draw, but it felt like forever. Almost like I walked backwards with my 9mm pistol, out all the way up the draw so whatever it was wouldn't come up behind me. One of the craziest experiences of my life, and I won't soon forget the feeling. Wish now I would have seen the thing, but the tracks right in front of my own face in the mud, in the middle of nowhere, in the bottom of a deep dark timber hole was enough for me. Anyway, if you get around to this one and feel it's worthy, go ahead and share. Thanks, Steve Matt Clark. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for coming forward, man. You're brave. You're a brave, free man. That reminds me of a time. I'm going to share this with you too, with everybody, obviously. I was in the States years ago, and where were we with some friends, and they had some family friends come over on the farm, and we're all hanging out bullshit and shooting 22s and stuff, and just doing farm shit. And this one guy was about, he's just your typical A-type, 6'3", 4", blonde hair, blue-eyed dude. Baseball player, A-type, kick-ass dude, loved hunting. And probably a few days after everybody's, had a few meals together and shit, hanging out, and we were outside, he took me aside and said, hey man, and he lowered his voice and said, hey man, y'all ever hear that Bigfoot thing, that Sasquatch Bigfoot thing in British Columbia? I'm like, yeah. Yep. He goes, you believe in those things? And he's talking, he had a really, real concerned look on his face. And he said to me, he goes, you believe in those things? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen one, man. They're running around. Trust me, I've met people I trust in my life who've shared with me, saw them too. Yeah, they're there. They're real. And he went, this is his reaction after he said that to me. He went, oh man, thank God, because I want to tell you something. I'm like, I'm all ears, let her rip. So he was with his family bow hunting. They were bow hunting elk in Colorado on a hunt. And they had a main camp, and it was pouring rain. And he said that he left camp downhill, went that way, whatever. They went that way, he went that way by himself. And he didn't get, sorry, I thought I heard something. And then he didn't get too far from camp. And on the trail, in the mud, he said was a massive set of human-like barefoot footprints, and the water was still filling the prints up on the trail, going the same direction he was going. And he said he literally shit himself and turned around and went back to camp. And he told everybody, and they laughed at him, but none of them wanted to go down there to check out the prints. But I never forgot. I never forgot about that story shared with me. And your story reminded me of hearing that one from that guy. I don't care who you are, how many times you've been in the woods. You walking around the woods and you see something like that, alarm bells. Thanks for that share, man. If you're still around watching us, you got more. You know what to do, all right? Appreciate you. This next one is titled, Young Hunter Numerous Experiences. First and foremost, thank you so much for what you do and taking responsibility on this subject. Luckily, I'm not the one who struggles not being able to talk about my experiences. I do feel so deeply for the people that have to hold it in. So thank you for creating a space that allows people to get it out. Well, thank you. Too easy, my man. Appreciate the kind words. Backstory, my name is Chase. I'm 21. Small town, Northeast Ohio boy. Hunting, fishing, shooting is my life. I've been hunting alone since I was 12. Me too. Been fishing since I could walk. Same. Grew up shooting birds, fishing, and pissing around in the outdoors my whole life. I'm a competitive shooter. I have a plethora of state championship trophies and 5 national first place trophies in trap shooting and Olympic bunker trap. Not tooting my horn, just proving the fact that this is my life. Gotcha, man, and good for you. I love hearing people find what they're passionate about and killing it. Encounters, August 23rd, 2015. Only reason I know the date is because I was in a really bad car accident the next day with my friend that was with me this night. We're lucky to be alive. Wow. Coincidence? I don't know. My friend and I decided that we were going to walk back to the middle of this block of woods to go check out this river. It's somewhere about 9 p.m., summer's night, hot, humid, and full of bugs. We didn't care, it was just something to do. Keep in mind, we both were aware of these things. My friend was a few years older than me, and I think I was 16, he was 19. Both very good shooters and woodsmen. All we did was pack up the gear and go catfishing every weekend. We get back to the creek. We're just messing around, playing in the rocks. The creek goes under a railroad track, and the tracks are right above us, about 30 feet or so. On side of the creek is a tangled mess of woods and briars, and the other side is a 30-foot tall rock bluff that's got trees on it, going out to the bean field. We spent some time down there till we got sketched out by the feeling something was above us. Little bits of dirt and rocks came rolling down that bluff as if something was disturbing the ground above us. So we got up on the tracks, and we're going to take that bean. So we got up on the tracks, and we're going to take that bean field out to the road, as the woods was just so thick it was a miserable walk. We walked throughout the field along the woods laughing and carrying on as teenage boys do. And as we always do, we're fishing. While we're fishing, we howl for the coyotes to see if they answer. We make owl hoots. It's dead calm out. Silent. We made our howls, and the only thing that was answered was a house dog in the distance. Then, Rusal decided he was going to do his Bigfoot howl, as he always did, just screwing around while we were fishing at night and whatnot. Not me. He let out this howl and obviously no answer. We continued our trek to the road. 1,000-yard walk left ahead of us, at least. After about 5 minutes after the howl, Justin made the loudest, deepest, bone-shaking, terrorizing, effing noise. Oh, sorry, I missed out on a word. I thought you meant your friend was doing that. Let me start that sentence again. After about 5 minutes after the howl Justin made, the loudest, deepest, bone-shaking, terrorizing, effing noise came from 400 yards behind me over my right shoulder. As soon as I heard the first 1 millisecond of this sound, I was already dead sprint. Why? Because your fight or flight kicks in naturally. That's how I know this wasn't a person. A person could not do this. It couldn't create this terror I felt in every part of my body. Mind you, it's all open, but there's a few fence rows, but everything behind us is in bean fields. I know where this thing was. It could definitely see us and hear us talking. Why would a person also wait a solid 5 minutes to answer us? We cried, we ran, we cried. The sound was still coming out of this thing. We get back to my house, and we just sat in my garage and wept. 2 rugged boys aged 16 and 19 who coon hunt, coyote hunt, would rather be out in the woods or water at night than drinking or partying, are bawling their eyes out over what they just experienced in the place they spend all of their time. The next few experiences I'm going to keep a little shorter, and I'm not sure in what order they've happened in. It's been a few years. My best friend and I are running my coon hound one night at a local wildlife area. I'm around 18 at the time. We stop to hunt here every time we go up because it's got a big lake. It's right around the corner from the howl. My cur dog is a ways out. It's cold, crunchy, and silent except for my dog running. My friend and I are standing face to face, 5 feet apart, leaning back on opposing trees, waiting for Jack, my dog, to strike. It's so dark I can only see the outline of my friend's shoulder sticking out past the tree he's leaning on. Can't see his face or his coat. Not even a reflection on his light. It's just dark. Then, on the side of my face, a ball of energy hits me. That's the only way I describe it. There's no wind, no breeze. It's still as glass. It only hit me in the side of the face. I was like dumbfounded as to what the F was that. Yeah, no. Oh, sorry. Bugs. Baseball-sized, slow-moving ball of energy hits my face, and I can almost feel it dissolved as it hit me. So I asked my buddy, hey, you see anything over on this side of my face? And he goes, yeah, it looked like a white moth or something flying around you. It's up and dark. How could you see it? It's effing cold. How would there be a moth out? My experiences aren't as obvious as some. They're not as black and white. But the last video of the bears and the guy having dreams that he was being shown something sparked me to write this. This is the one I really wanted to talk about because we haven't had much light on this, and me and that guy can't be the only ones having dreams or being shown something in vision-like form. I had a dream a while back that I was with them, a bunch of them, 50 plus, almost a ceremony type event. They were all big, no young. I knew one of them, as in like, oh, there's my buddy. Like he took you to a party where you only know him and you're an outsider to the people there. And he was one of those where he takes you to a party, doesn't introduce you, and goes and does his own thing, so you're left alone with all these people you don't know. But at the same time as I felt that, it was like they couldn't see me. As like I was granted permission to watch this ceremony, but it was on the down low. I was camouflaged or invisible. It was almost as if I was a Bigfoot watching humans. Like this is their perspective on us and our day-to-day lives. A lesson of they're here observing but not visible, walking among us. Here but not here. I cannot do the things I used to do. I just cannot enjoy them. I resonate with the people who are genuinely afraid sometimes in some places. All of these encounters, rightly so. When I was younger, my attitude was, I want to see one up close. I want to meet one. Befriend it. But now, man, all I want to do is be able to go catfishing by myself in the remote places I want to go and feel comfortable and enjoy myself. Most places, most times, I feel no fear, but there are places I go where it's just an overwhelming sense of get the F out of here and don't look back. And I've never been afraid of the woods at any time. I don't want anything to do with these things. I too had a better life before really diving deep into all this. I've never been afraid of my actual experiences. The howl, nah, it wasn't intimidating. I'm going to eat you and make toys of your bones for my kin. It was very animal-like. We made a call. It moved into that general area the call came from. Then it let out a call like, I knew you were here. I'm here now. Where'd you go? It was just so foreign and loud and bone-shattering. But you just haul ass and don't stop. I just really wanted to shed light on the dream side of things. That's something you can't find genuinely good accounts on. And most people probably don't think much of that, but as soon as I heard the video of the guy saying he was being shown things, and he understood, and he felt as if he was being watched over in a positive way, it really resonated deep with me. Thanks again. Use anything in here, even if you only shared the dream part. Any questions or whatever, just email me. I really want to learn as much as I can about them, and even though I want nothing to do with them, I wish I had the knowledge that you and someone like David Plattis has. I know I butcher his name. Good luck and safe travels on your trips and adventures. That goes for everyone. A personal locating device and a firearm will keep you out of as much danger as anything. There you go. Another club member of the Club of No Return member. Yeah. Like I've shared with you guys in the past, I haven't experienced the terrifying rib rattling roar that so many have. I don't want to. It could happen right beside me in the forest right here, right now, right? Wouldn't that be something? If it did, or if it does one day. And it literally shakes the camera on the tripod after I've been sitting here for an hour talking. And no, I'm not requesting that. I don't want it to happen. Side note. Yeah. Gotta go move the Zodiac again. The tide's going out and it's starting to rest on some sharp rocks. I don't need that to be deflated where I am right now. I think I'll be back. I'm gonna come back up here and share one more email, I think. All right. One more. One more, maybe even a couple. So many people have written in with their experiences. It's amazing. What do we got? Oh, this one's a book. Here we go. British Columbia. Night Inlet, BC is the title of this one. Right in the heart. Right in the heart of it. Not too far from there that man was abducted years ago. Albert Ostman. Hi, Steve. I was looking at some more of your YouTube stories when a couple more weird things that happened to me popped into my head. I'll tell you one now, and the other one sometime in the future. It's funny how your stories have stimulated the memories I've never thought about until now. I used to fall trees for a living. When I was laid off for fire season, my wife and I would take off in our sailboat for a holiday. We would go as far as the Broughton Archipelago most summers. This year, we went as far as the mouth of Night Inlet and explored the small islands there. I'll try to make it short and to the point. We found a nice little cove to anchor in, then took the dinghy out and around a group of small islands. One of them had a decent place to land the inflatable on, so we pulled it up onto the beach and walked inland. It was thick brush, shallal cedars, and stunted hemlock. Just like right here. Once we got inside, it opened up with trails everywhere, but dark from the canopy. We noticed a foul smell like a grizzly on a hot day, but 10 times stronger. I was starting to get a little worried and wanted to get out of there, but before we went back to the dinghy, we went a little bit farther and discovered the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There was a bit of a depression in the ground that was full of shit. It looked like bear shit, only bigger, and stunk like nothing I've ever smelt before. Whatever was crapping there had been used in this same spot for years. After seeing this, we both got the strong impression we were being watched. So we stayed close and slowly made it back to the dinghy. I've worked in the woods all my life and I've never seen anything like this. I don't want to say Sasquatch every time I see something abnormal, but this was strange. Maybe you've seen or heard of this before. Funny thing is, I've never told anyone this story before. It's like your stories are opening up memories in the back of my head. I have another story I can send you in later if you like about huge tracks I saw up past Namu 30 years ago. P.S. I'm retired and I've spent 6 months every year mostly in Thailand. So I can relate to your jet lag. Best regards, John Surgener. John, I want to hear it all, man. Send it all. And I don't know, I had a friend of mine. A friend of mine's got one of those big custom aluminum boats, offshore boats with dual power on it, and he's been starting to go across to that side from Vancouver Island to go fishing and looking and hunting and looking for adventures. So I wonder if maybe you would send me a map to that one little spot, and I'll keep it in my notes. And possibly, maybe one day if my friend is going in there again and I get the invite again, I'll go and I'll go check it out. Maybe. We'll see what kind of pressure, if that all did happen, if you wanted to do that, if, all the ifs, right? And if, of course, the pressure wasn't too great before getting into the timber to seeing what the hell's going on in there. But that'd be interesting to see that, for sure. Do I really need to see that? No. Do I really need to know where? No, I don't really need to. I need to find out all the whys. That's what I really need. I need to find out why we're being lied to, why we're being misled. I guess it's pretty obvious now, right? Why? It's all about the control and the power. What a creepy thing. The control and the power is such a creepy thing, right? So weird to have that in your life, isn't it? So weird. But anyway, man, next time you send in, John, make sure you, if you can, throw it all down in one. You might, who knows, maybe you already sent me the other email. I don't know. I haven't found it yet. But anyway, I'm going to go back. I'm going to head back, make my way back, and see if I can't cut some of this gross hair off my face. Well, I feel gross. I just feel hot and gross, sweaty and dirty, salty. I gotta go home tomorrow, I guess. But share my story at howtohunt.com. All right, you guys? Send in your experience. Get it off your chest. Speak out loud. This is the place to do it. There's a few other ones for sure. Just get it out. Quit holding it. Quit being scared of human beings. Quit being scared of human beings, especially today. The insanity going on today is right out to freaking lunch. So don't be scared of humans. Share what you've seen. Share what you know, all right? Help humans. Help us. Help us. Help the people that know what's up. I'll be back shortly.